Welcome back, everybody, to Gears Pro League Split 2, day number 7. I'm Taylor Reflections. I'm joined by Colin and Crow Clark, moving into our final series of the night. And I think this one could be equally as good as that E-United Team Queso one. We got Rebel facing off against Fury 1.
To steal a phrase, this could get spicy.
Oh,
goalie's head just exploded.
And again, I missed that one. I'm not gonna
all right. Lie. That's why I haven't said anything. I know he's gone.
Saying spicy on the break or something like that.
Play it.
Play it out. All right. Yeah, it's going to be. I think this is cool. Actually, I got to ask you a question. Team Queso Fury 1, obviously are incredible teams in their own rights. Are they top 4, top 5? No. But are they teams that can make big impacts in Pro League? I think so. You think they can make an impact here against Rebel?
Fury 1 is going to make an impact in the idea that they're going to get very close to stealing maps, if not just taking maps off of Rebel. This is one of those situations, though, where once again, we find ourselves like we did in matchup number 1. The Knights versus Hive, which was pretty close. Hive was putting in a good fight against the Knights. That was a big brother, little brother situation.
Yeah.
You look at these names, you look at these guys. These are some of their first outings in matchups in the Pro League. These are the guys that are trying to make a name for themselves. And across the line, a whole bunch of names that have been made for quite some time.
Sure. I think so. I mean, you even look at the 4 from Fury 1, like even in Challenger Series, I've seen them play literally nonstop. They've always made a big impact. Like they've been in competitive Gears for some time, even if you haven't necessarily heard about them, per se, right? When it comes to Pro League itself, these guys are great. They really are. And Fury 1 is hungry for victory. But on the opposite end, it's funny now. It's a bit different. You have legendary figures in the Gears scene, literally household names, Identivez being the kind of the main staple there. But obviously, Crack Demon, Xploidz, all 4 absolutely incredible, and getting that victory over Pittsburgh Knights last week spoke volumes about what this roster can bring to the table. Rebel's not done yet. These guys continue to strive to be the best Latin American team out there, and they're well on their way to being that best Latin American team out there.
They have found a different gear. With Summons, you kind of had this level of consistency. You knew what you were going to get. He played 1v1s. He was a very safe bet for your team not to get overwhelmed, not to get extra rotated on. You go and pick up a guy like Xploidz. You just kind of add that X factor, all pun intended for the first letter of his name. You add another level of explodability to your team, to the fact that he could just at any time kind of pop off, give you that extra added edge. You're no longer a play it safe team. You're no longer we're going to try to overwhelm you with Identivez, Crack Demon. We're going to try to be a 3-headed dragon that you have to slay. Oh, hell no. They come out the blocks with 4 heads on this dragon. I don't even know what you call that.
4 heads, add one more, it's 5 head. And I think that's what Rebel is. And Xploidz is 5 head with the sniper rifle. And his stats, well, they are looking incredible too, right? 4, 3, and 1. We're looking at execution stats. But I mean, KDA at 3.5 when it's a single life game mode, like that is incredible stuff. Damage per life, 2,200. That is awesome. He is getting a massive amount of damage output. And also his first blood, the most impressive stat to me, 24.24% of a chance of getting first blood. I mean, that for me is just, again, Xploidz is doing it all, not only with power weapons like he did on Canals last week against Pittsburgh Knights, striking the fear even in me, and I wasn't even playing, but as a whole, when it comes to execution, Xploidz, I mean, you can't deny his impact on this Rebel roster.
No, you cannot. You cannot deny it, and he's going to continue to make that kind of an impact. In a matchup like this, where they're going against a team that's really built on aggression. They really do exemplify their organization's title. They are Fury embodied. They want to play in your face. They want to keep you kind of off balance, to out control, try to take that away from you, not allow you to set up, not allow you to get comfortable in any way, shape, or form or situation. That plays into the favor of Rebel in this matchup. That's what worries me. Jacob has always kind of told me if you have 2 teams that play a very similar style, the team that just has the more talent will probably get some blowout wins. That's what's worrying me coming into this, is that if Fury 1 plays into Rebel and Rebel's hitting the shots like they normally do, if they're playing up to their standard par, this thing could get gross.
It could. It very well could. And I expect it to get gross. I really do. I think both of these teams are just honestly evenly matched, in my opinion. Let's take a look at the 5 maps we'll be rolling with. I want to see if Rebel is going to implement canals. They don't get it through. Ephyra, though, a great map for them, and that has proven to be the case in the past. They'll pick that one up for their map number 2, but we'll be starting on Regency Control, and I think that's a great map pick for Fury 1. Fury 1 really does prefer Regency Control, so opening up, this is an opportunity for them to take an early lead.
I look at this really setting up heavy for Rebel. I know I said that there might be a 3-1 for E United, and I was definitely proven wrong getting taken to the wire on that map 5, but I'm very worried. Regency, to me, is a good pick for Fury 1. They've been very good on it. They've taken teams to the limit. They took the Pioneers, I believe, in the first matchup of the season, maybe second matchup of the season, to the wire in that Regency Control. They might have even taken it off of them. I can't remember 100%, but Ephyra execution, to me, that is a very linchpin pick for Rebel. Rebel can get very aggressive in the middle of that map and really just torture people through the secondary fights of that map number 2. So I'll be curious to see how they play that.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I think I'm curious in general just to see how well Fury 1 stacks up against Rebel, but also what Rebel we're going to see in this series tonight. I wouldn't say they're an inconsistent team, but you never know their mentality heading into a series. That was the same thing, right, that could be said last week for E-Days. You know, Rebel played very well against Hive. They beat them 3-0 opening up in round 1, and then they went the distance against United, but that final map, they just kind of fell apart. You know, they had all the confidence in the world, and then all of a sudden they didn't. So Rebel is a team that likes to finish series early, and I think they're going to have to do so here. Speaking of which, who are we going for in this series? I think it's been a pretty clear-cut night. The biggest surprise, obviously, was Team Queso going as far as they did, and again, I applaud them for doing so. But I think the same narrative is here. Fury 1 is kind of like Team Queso. They're the underdogs who still need to prove themselves. As good as they are, they haven't proven themselves just yet to the point where I trust them to beat Rebel. So therefore, I'm going with Rebel in this series. Colin, what about you?
Hey, look, Fury usually is a trait you attribute to the dark side, and just like Darth Vader, I'm looking at the Rebels, baby. They gonna come out hot in this one. I'm looking for something. And Rebel, I really think they got this one on the lock and key, baby. They got it in a safe place like it was a deposit box in a bank.
Okay, fair enough, and that's safe. That's as safe as you can get. Chat, are you going Rebel or are you going Fury 1? I think we're going to be on the same page all day. We have been on the same page. We've all been right. We're batting 1,000, and it is, in fact, going to be Rebel. Again, the same narrative. Now it's up to Fury 1 to prove us all wrong, and I think the potential is absolutely there. Regency is one of the better maps that they could be starting off with when it comes to control. Fury 1, I think, is excellent when it comes to control. Execution, I think they're just as good. Escalation, I have some worries. So coming off of these first 3 maps, it's imperative Fury 1 at least takes one of them. If they don't, or at least the first 2, excuse me, if they don't take one of the first 2, series could be a 3-0 in the way of Rebel.
Could very well. Again, we go into that map 1, that Regency. Fury 1 has to have a hot start. They've done very well on that map. I'm extraordinarily worried for their initial. Right there with Rebel, they have Xploidz and Identivez, who are 2 of the best MBAR players maybe in history. And they are so extraordinarily explosive with that weapon. I'll be curious to see how they play this initial, because if I'm Rebel, maybe play the nades safely and overload the MBAR, because if you can play the nades safely and then just kind of play defensively at that outside, that initial Rose Garden fight, you come into that thing with the MBAR in hand of one of those guys, shoot, that's a retake waiting to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we kind of run in the joke whenever Xploidz did join this roster, who is going to be the guy taking the power weapons? Is it going to be, obviously Xploidz, or is it going to be Identivez? It's been Xploidz. And I think rightly so. Xploidz truly is the best power weapon, or at least whenever it comes to sniper and MBAR. I mean, he's unmatched. He really is. I think he's the best in the world. So you got to give it to him. And an Identivez just needs to go and slay out. Overloading this side is interesting. I'm trying to think back to Fury 1 and kind of how they play the initial. For some reason, some part is telling me, from what I remember, is they don't try to even play for the MBAR. They kind of
They go 3-1. They go 3 to the Rose Garden, 1 to the nades to play defensively. If they can get kills at the Rose Garden, they rotate somebody to frag grenades to try to help. They're like, yeah, that gun is cool, and it goes burr when you get kills. But I'm telling you right now, it's not really that necessary for us to have it. And I like that out of them. It plays into their strength. They want an early point lead. They want to be aggressive. It plays to what they want. So if that's scouted and Rebel realizes it, so they only send 1 to MBAR, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, don't be shocked if this is one of those times where you see Fury 1 pull a trick out of the hat, man. They reach deep into the bag and they send 2 to Embar to make sure it stays out of Xploidz' hands. They could very well switch up the strat and keep Rebel guessing. But I do believe that Rebel, they're going to be playing for that Embar. They want it. They need it. They're going to get kills with it. They're going to try to get some highlights going.
Oh, without question. And they're going to get highlights. They are. And that's why Fury 1 needs to stop Xploidz or Identivez from getting it. Like, I think, yeah, you want those early points. You want to play for nades. That's been your game plan. There are times to deviate from that game plan. This is one of those. Get the Embar away from Xploidz and Identivez. Because if you don't, the impact that can have is great. I mean, it really is great. But let's find out what they're going to be up to. Rebel Fury 1 map number 1. This is Fury 1's map pick here on Regency. We'll see if they're going to find success or maybe they won't. Nobody going for Embar, actually. Literally, nobody going for Embar. We do see Demon finally break away, potentially going up to that top side, but both teams prioritizing the Rose Garden as, honestly, we weren't expecting it all.
See, I didn't expect this, but this is a brilliant play by Rebel because you know what this is from Rebel? This is them trying to take away what Fury 1 wants to do. This is that little brother syndrome right off rip. They want to be able to keep them on the back foot. They want to prove that anything you can do, I can do better. Ventry can kill Aimboot with a frag grenade. Love that first shot by Jaled. Demon's going to answer back, but then he hits the back A on the wrap. This is what is so concerning. There are so many times where players from Fury 1 are finding themselves pushing up just an extra inch too long. Embar off spawn, shock off spawn, frag grenade off spawn. Not a power weapon in sight. You get 10 points off the first hill, and you've given up the good respawn to Rebel.
And good respawn to Rebel. They've got the point lead. They played your game. They beat you at your own game. This is cause for concern. Fury 1, though, they can't get too rattled just yet. It's only hill number 1. They've got to find a way to get back in. Things will start getting concerning, especially if they can't break through this defensive setup. Great shock. Beautiful shock. Picture-perfect shock to focus Fury 1 into one location. And they're going to punish Aimboot. Aimboot on his last down and out. The snub fire and lance fire doesn't stop. Fury 1 can't stop either. Xploidz up close will take down Ventry. You got last move just up ahead, Identivez. He's going to be able to easily take him down. And now you can maybe have some cause for concern because now Fury 1's been beat at their own game. They've gone for 2 solid retakes. This is the second one, and they're already being shut down. But maybe they do have a little bit of a breakaway attempt here.
Yeah, you're going to see what they do here is push into the backside of that spawn and then come into that back window. Identivez is in a very dangerous spot because you can get hit through a little cubby corner right there. But this is one of those spots where you see Identivez waiting on that wing. He's waiting for that flash grenade. And see how the quick little rotation comes in. Wrap shots galore. Identivez will hit one. And all Fury 1 is going to do, they're going to back down and go for the respawn. They want the close respawn to try to go for another retake. They want a new set of utility grenades to use in this next fight. And they've gotten just exactly what they want here. And they're going to have to be very picture perfect because I've yet to really see anything that tells me they can overwhelm Rebel. Rebel has done such a good job time in and time out of shutting down whatever Fury 1 wants to do. And I mean, if Demon's going to be making plays like that, how you going to deny it?
You can't. And you know what's funny? Crack gets the Embar. Now, I think that's just because of where he was. He was right next to it, but I would like to see Crack flex his Embar plays. Why not? You know, you got Identivez, you got Xploidz, who might be better options, but hey, Crack is just as good, man. So he'll get a chance to maybe have some fun with it unless he passes it off. But with the way Rebel's pushing up and Fury 1 already set up defensively, I think we're going full sin. Demon nades in hand. And those are definitely going to be a bit of an impact play, you'd have to assume. I'd love that angle from Crack. You can see right to the left or right of the smoke. First nade's going to be thrown out. Last move has to move. Crack's revving it up. Can't get a shot, though. It's going to go to waste, you seems. Jaled will take down Identivez. Last move will be finished off. Rebel gets a retake.
It's the threat, my man. It's just the threat. They have to stay behind the pillar so they can rotate to the backside of the hill, get the 90 degree on the player staying back behind the pillar. He rotates out toward the stairwell, then he gets hit in the head. All he has to do is kind of stay at this 90 and just you can't miss all like that in front of my
I hate the laugh, but like ribs. Come on,
that was happening though.
You know what?
I was having it.
Because Ribs, no, he done it too many times to the people out there, all right? It's just the way it is. But that was pretty dirty to show Ribs, I can't lie. But you know what? We're telling the story as it is, and that's just one piece of the story. That's just one word, one sentence, as opposed to the whole chapter. Good body shot from Crack on the Aimboot. Jeez, he had just a pixel, and he made it count. Fury 1 goes for the retake, and they lose it again, 125-28.
And this is going to be one of those hills where you'll get off about 15, 10 seconds. They're actually going to leave it 20? They're going to go, yo, are they going to try to pressure out the last 3 kills again? Are they just going to try to bully him here to get in position for the next hill? Because that's certainly what it...
They already did.
Demon gets one, Crack gets another, and now last move is like...
last move is last. This is his last move. GG's.
Yeah.
Jesus. Now, you know... I didn't expect Crack getting a little wiggle waggle out there. Xploidz has the I think Xploidz was trying to hand off the No, he's giving the bullets. He's giving the ammunition, excuse me. So I thought they were just having fun with it, and Rebel might be having fun with it. I mean, they've dominated this so far. Fury 1's non-existent.
This is where you get worried. These are those times, man. That's all you got to. That's all I'm saying is. We've seen great spots from Fury 1, but they're going against a team that's genetically just built the same as they are. And this is one of those situations where, I mean, if you're a power puncher, you're going up against another power puncher, but he's got, 3 inches of reach on you, and he can lift about 150 pounds more than you. That's a scary sight. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you want. You want to be able to find that edge. You want to be able to find something you can kind of fight back against him with. All they can do here is kind of mount up with the Lancers out, the Snubs out. There you go. The third down and out on Crack gets the kill, and they might have the M-bar on the ground for them to be able to get the kill.
They just might. Is this the turning point Fury 1 needed? Well, they've got plenty of time off of this current hill, and there's still 30 seconds remaining. Honestly, even 80-142 wouldn't be too bad, considering where we were just at moments ago for Fury 1 being down so far in time. Rebel now forced to rotate out. Identivez is going to go ahead and set up in the back spawn. Great spot for him to be, at least to maybe, just get a taste of a kill. 3 players from Fury 1, though, set up to the left. Rebel, once again, having to go for a retake head-on.
Crack is going to be on top of that stairwell. They're trying to set up to be able to come through this middle area. Good body shot on a Ventry. Ventry has to rotate back toward the hill. Identivez, Crack gets that first shot on an Aimboot. We go back to Identivez, who's just holding this 90 degree. They have the close spawn. They're ensuring that they don't get spawned behind. And then they're pushing in slowly but surely, getting kill after kill, making sure they take over that hill right there at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. 5 seconds to go for that next spawn of the M-bar. I'll be curious to see if they can get back over to it in time.
Identivez revving it up. Aimboot's got it. Now, I would like to see Rebel a little tighter on getting those M-bars. And the reason why, I don't think they feel as threatened naturally against Fury 1 here, Colin. But I mean, practice makes perfect, and you still got to play, make the right plays. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. And the reason why is because, you're going to be making the same mistakes maybe against Fury 1 as you would against, maybe top-level teams. But here they're having no problems. Great shots as a whole. Rebel getting aggressive, pushing up, and Demon flying out of nowhere, picking up 2 players, and that's going to stop the Fury 1 push really before it even gets started. They didn't even get within the 10-20 yard line of getting onto that hill.
Yeah, and you can see Rebel is about to close in on that 200-point marker. And one of the, they got 19 seconds left. Is this where they just start kind of holding on to that? Because that's the thing you got to keep an eye on, because if they start just kind of holding on to these hills, they're just trying to get it over with at this point. It's no longer about playing right. It's no longer about trying things. They're not bullying. They said, look, man, it's late in the evening, all right? It's late in the evening. Let's get this over with. Done. 98 points to go. And they have not given up that 80-point marker yet over to Fury 1. These are the things that could come back to haunt Fury 1. These are those kind of demoralizing losses.
This right here is going to be a demoralizing loss if you lose this, because Fury 1's got everything. They've got spawns, they've got the early setup, and Rebel, they've got a lot to work with. Demon with the nades, Identivez with the M-bar, obviously, but you just simply can't lose this fight, especially if they don't even get a trade or get a cleanup at all, right? This could be bad, but Aimboot full red, holding his ground, well done. Demon will fall. Xploidz and Crack now up to their own devices, forced to back up. Fury 1 sees the opportunity. They know they've got the edge, and that is a beautiful hold. In fact, that is the strongest hold we have seen them had in the past 2 hills.
And they get that hold, and that's a good little one to get them over 100 points if they can hold on to it for about 10 more seconds. They got plenty of time. M-Bar picked up by Demon. This is where it gets dangerous again because they're giving up power plays. And this is what we talk about all the time. Up over 200 points. You can kind of just have your way with how you want to take these fights. Do you want to rotate over for a new power weapon? Do you want to retake with all the new utilities? The world is your oyster, my man.
Fury 1 110 and counting to 202. Look, it's still possible for Fury 1 to come back here. It absolutely is. So Rebel again has to start playing, perfectly and just really play everything to a T, which I think they've done a great job at doing so. But Fury 1 can get back in this, and then you got to think about Rebel's mentality at that point. Like, man, we had such a lead, and Fury 1's coming back with a vengeance, and I am seeing, Fury 1 get some good, decent kills, like Xploidz falling in that regard. Demon, though, nice shot onto Jaled. Crack will push onto Aimboot. He knows he's got the edge there, but it's just a bit tough to push. He'll get Lancered in the back. We're almost back to the start, just very shortly. Demon pressured up, Nasher out. He's going to drop. Fury 1, kind of feel it. I think they're going to come roaring back.
They've got a long way to go, though. I mean, this is that hill you got to climb when you're giving up that many points to an opponent. You can see them playing over this middle Rose Garden hill. There's the quick downs. There's the quick cleanups. They're already getting points back off of it. All they got to do is continue to hold up this defensive stand, and they really have... What is this? It was 202 to 70. They've already gotten 50. They're continuing to mount up more points. They're trying to just make this that much harder on Rebel to come away with a clean victory here.
See how clean it's going to be. At this point, Fury 1, great hold on the current hill. Identivez, though, making some moves. He'll take down last and join his teammates for a bit of a retake here. But the side they're attacking on, if they lose this, Jaled looking to make a move, pushes up on a Demon. He's going to lose his life, and that is a play Jaled needs to make. Even if he loses his life after that, if you're going to commit that hard, you have to make sure you capitalize in that moment. So M-Bar will be picked up, and last move will run away with it. Hit a body shot right after that. Rebel will take at least a couple more points. They'll be above the 220 mark because we're fighting for new. Now, the good thing is, Colin, Fury 1, they do have spawn control.
Yeah, Fury 1 is going to be able to kind of hold back for just a moment, force out Rebel from making the next play. Rebel's going to have to push into that next hill, and they're going to have to hope that they leave one player back far enough to kind of keep that close spawn for their team. Because you can see, now they've all pushed up now, so they've given up that close spawn. If somebody from Fury 1 just rotates down, that's an easy respawn for them to try to come back into this fight. See the shots coming out, but Rebel, I mean, with the control over the hill, there's not really much for them to be worried about. Already over 225, 230 now. Last move goes down, and with, 50 seconds or so on this, you can get it up to 280? 260. It's 290.
Yeah,
excuse my French, my brother.
290. So this is... Fury 1, yeah, they're not going to lose off of this, but they're going to be close, and they need to get a break. They understand that, and that's why they're pushing up as hard as they are. Ventry, great shot. Crack will also fall, and that could have been a lot worse. That hill could have been a lot worse. Fury 1 keeping Rebel below 250. Even if they're close, they're still below 250. And with 40 seconds remaining, Fury 1 can still bring this to a 40-point game, something like that. So still doable, still very doable. I want to see them rotate off about 15 or so seconds. Of course, you got to at least prevent the onslaught. Two nades are going to be thrown out. Ventry might get caught on one. No, Jaled actually is going to take the next points. Well done. Good shots from Jaled onto the entry point fraggers of Rebel. Demon will fall. Another one on the outside is Identivez. At this point, though, Rebel's lost his hill. They got to focus on next, and so does Fury 1.
And now you're going to see all of a sudden they're going to rotate toward that M-Bar, try to get across the map as well because they want the close respawn to be able to push into this next hill. 53 seconds left for them to be able to get this dub. Wait a minute. What are we waiting on here? Oh, okay, they're pushing down these back stairwell. Aimboot, he's going to get tagged up. This is where you got to be worried because Aimboot's by himself over here. He doesn't have the help that he needs close range to push back against the Identivez. You can see him coming out of the back door. Now they're mounted up too deep there on the stairwell. So now what you're going to see is Identivez having to hold on to these positions. Identivez is going to have to look for the help. Little shot by Jaled. Was actually a little cheeky there through the flowers trying to catch somebody's head. Misses Xploidz as well. One more shot will be 3 misses in a row, and he's thrown out 3 shots not to find any, and that is 10 more seconds kind of wasted away for the side of Rebel. And boys, you got to go. You got to find an entry frag here sooner or later. You got to get that kill, baby.
You do. I mean, Jaled's missed some critical shots. Body shot is cool. Body shot up close. Identivez closing the gap, taking him down. Fury 1 running out of options, but they do take the hill. But like you said, they gave up 20 points, literally 20 points, even though they were on the outside, just on the outskirts. They could have pushed in, they could have contested, but they tried to make the perfect play, the perfect move, and because they tried to do that, Rebel is now very, very close to victory, and in fact, they can still get the victory here. If they can take it in time, and they do, 29 seconds, that's enough time.
Yeah, it's plenty of time, really, for them to continue to sit here and get this finished off win. They've got to be concerned with, though, is the fact that here comes the flyby. Aimboot's already kind of stuck with that shock grenade in front of him. Now they have one hallway to choose from. That's the best shock grenade you can throw if you're Demon. It either is going to get the downs on players coming through that one hallway, or you're going to force them to run through the other. They go through the other only to get shredded. Rebel come away with a win. I mean, they had it well within their grasp for quite some time. It almost looks like they played with their food a little bit too much in that map.
And I was going to go back to that. I think Rebel came into this series, and let's not kid ourselves, they are the favorites in this matchup, but I do feel there was a moment, or several moments really, throughout that series, or throughout that map rather, where, they could have played, kind of to a T. They could have played more clinical, but they simply didn't. Rebel's game plan at the rip is to get the M-bar. They didn't even go for that. Now, you made the great point, though. They were taking Fury 1's fight, and they wanted to establish dominance, which, to their credit, they actually did up to a certain point, because Fury 1 still held their ground within that hill, and they also got the M-bar after that. Granted, the guy with the M-bar, he was finished off quickly by Demon, but Rebel didn't play the same gameplay that they're accustomed to playing. So it is working against Fury 1. I just worry if it's going to work against the other top-level teams. But, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Either way, Rebel, as critical as we're being, Rebel still played this map very well. And they were slaying out quite considerably.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think Rebel just, the more they play against teams like this, it gives them more of a chance to make mistakes against better teams. I would have loved to see them finish this one off much quicker. I think it was at one point it was 202 to 70 something, and then before we knew it, it was 202 to 135.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's a lot of points kind of given up where you could have it 250, 260 to under 100.
Right.
Those are the situations that worry me for Rebel when you go against these better teams. That's why I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them continue to kind of play around with their food. Go into this execution, assert your dominance, man. Do exactly what you were doing in the first half of that map, and settle in for this map too, and try to make it a 2-0 as quick as humanly possible. I mean, not for an early night or anything, just to showcase what you're made of. These are these matchups that really, really put your best foot forward. This is some of those things. I harken back to this. When UIU went 16-0 in maps leading into that tournament, they were damn near perfect every time we saw them out of the blocks.
Right.
Vanquish, Pioneers, whatever banner they've played under, they have taken care of business sooner rather than later against almost any team. They're having their struggles now, but historically, Optic Gaming and Gears 4 every 2K, until the finals, they took care of business. They did not waste time. Those are the things I want to see out of teams that want to prove to us they're those top caliber squads.
Right, exactly the case. And, again, you can make the argument Fury 1 isn't in the same ballpark as Rebel, and that's not disrespectful. I just think that's kind of the case at the moment, but yeah, still, Rebel needs to, destroy these teams, or at least try to. Will they destroy them? I don't think so. Fury 1 isn't going to get destroyed. They're a great team, but you need to play a lot harder than that. And Ephyra, though, is going to be an interesting one, and the reason why is I just got to check my notes here. So Ephyra was played again. We compliment how good E United is on Ephyra, right? If they love that map, they play it very well. Ephyra hasn't been played in Pro League by Rebel, but they did play it last Thursday. And I think that could have indicated, or at least been a reason why Rebel picked that as their go-to execution map for map number 2, Colin. They beat E United 6-3 on Ephyra, and they did so in great fashion. I mean, they looked good doing it. They were able to isolate TJ, who's typically going to be in that, or Powers, who's typically fighting for the torque bow. I love that Rebel threw out the most unique looks on Ephyra that we've seen yet. They weren't scared to push 3 strong for the drop shot, which we never see that. They weren't scared to send 3 people inside of hotel. You never see that. That's normally a 1v1. This is a very lane-oriented map, at least how it plays with the meta. But Rebel shifted that against the United on last Thursday E-Days, and they found success doing so. And I think it kind of, light bulb went off, and they said, you know what? This is a map that should be in our rotation, and Rebel is now playing with this map in their rotation. Now, Fury 1 has played this map in Pro League. They played against the United, and they lost 2-6. So Rebel should be the heavy favorite in this map too.
Xploidz in this middle. I love this early flash. He doesn't get a stun, though, which stops him from being able to rotate up or down or inside out, however you want to look at it. They're just going to be trading Lancer shots back and forth. Aimboot gets kind of called off from that shock. He turns, and I mean, waiting in the wings for him was Crack, and Identivez finds one of his own. The only answer back thus far was in the middle of the map. Jaled, last move, now trying to just rotate around. That's a big torque bow stick, and now last move. He's going to be last alive for his squad. He has to go absolutely massive. But I mean, I don't even know if Jack and the Giant Beanstalk get you that big.
Who knows? Well done from Rebel. Demon, the only one to die off Identivez and Crack. 2 kills apiece. That makes 4, and therefore the entire team of Fury 1 dies off. Again, Rebel, a favorite here, and that makes me excited. We don't see Ephyra play too much. We have been seeing it played around with a little bit more, not only in E-Days, but also in Pro League, but you only have very few teams. This is a map, Colin, that I expect to be heavily influenced in the major and could very well decide, who knows, our next major champion. Crack, good shot onto Aimboot. Aimboot's going to die off. That frees up now that lane to go in and get the drop shot. It also puts a little pep in the step of last move, who will get finished off in that 1v2. Identivez, though, gets absolutely ran through by Ventry, who secures the torque bow. But he's last alive in a 1v3, and not going to be easy to do.
Yeah, Ventry, he has the torque, so he can try to get these quick revs off to try to get a stick onto somebody, but with missing these, I mean, they're baiting the shots out now. You see how they're peeking out these. Oh, he almost plants himself, and he gets flanked quickly. Those are one of those situations. Do you feel like there's an internal clock that has to go off sooner or later, where people are just kind of shoulder peeking you, and you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Why is this happening? Why am I not getting to shoot at anybody?
All right, well, we're going into round number 3. Rebel feeling confident. Demon flexing his muscles, Colin, much like you are, baby. Looking good tonight, I'm telling you. Who's going to win this hotel fight? Jaled opposite of Xploidz. Xploidz been not having a good time, Colin. We highlighted him. He is 0-0. But hey, I mean, 0-0 doesn't mean he's died just yet. He's got the 3 assists. Identivez winning the fight against Ventry round 2. He ends up winning it. And we will see another player ends up falling. That's going to be Demon. So brings it to a 3v3, and that 2v1 is definitely going to be great for Fury 1. Now 3v2, and with drop shot in hand of Aimboot, possibility to win this first round for Fury 1 is in, and I think they're going to get it. Jaled hit that final shot, baby.
Finally around for Fury 1. They were able to extend these mid-match fights, those mid-hotel fights, long enough for them to find the angles for their teammates, and those are the things you got to do against a team like Rebel. If you cannot let them kind of overwhelm you in the early goings, if you can't let their flash and dash get the best of you, you have a chance. You got a shot, and that's exactly what was proven to us right there by that round. Finally, Fury 1 gets one. I want to see if they can repeat the success. How do you repeat the success? Those are the things in execution that always come to mind. How are you going to keep winning rounds against a team like Rebel?
Jaled looking to close the gap on an Xploidz. Xploidz backing up for the reset. Meanwhile, we do see a bit of a skirmish over on the drop shot side, which that's where Fury 1 found success, Colin, off of the round number 1. But this time looking to be shut down. Demon gets the first opening kill. Good spacing. Aimboot is going to drop. Ventry looks to make things a bit interesting, and so does Jaled. It's a 2v2.
Now you see Crack trying to chase out his teammate here. They need to play together. They want to play with one another, and I love that from Jaled. He calls out that they're both together. He rolls back toward his teammate, and now with that mark, oh, he's going to try to get it over the top. Doesn't get it. Now Crack is looking down and over. He tries to find that torque bow player. He gets the call out on him. An active drop would be massive here if he could get that kill on the torque bow player, but I think that Jaled knows that, and he's going to try to stay down and stay under.
Reloading.
Yeah, he's just trying to stay out of the way of that drop shot. He doesn't want to give away his position, and he sure as hell doesn't want to give away the kill.
And you know it's serious when you got 2 more shots and you don't even reload. Okay, that's how tense this moment is. Ventry finally able to join his teammate down low, but still, it's not going to make him feel too comfortable just yet with it being a 2v2. The way this round started, I was not expecting a stalemate, but yet here we are, and the overtime hill could very well be coming into play. What positioning do you prefer, Jaled and Ventry, or do you prefer the Rebel boys?
I prefer Rebel in this situation simply because Rebel has this advantage where they have the sight lines, really. They know where anybody's rotating if they want to. And with one drop left in Crack's hands, he could easily just get an active kill on whoever goes for the hill. But instead, as soon as that player takes his eyes off the cubby because they push through the middle of the map, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. He rolls up, gets the 2-shot down and the kill. You can't make it that easy.
But yet they did. Yet they did. And that's going to be a 3-1 lead for Rebel. Well done and a great recovery. Look at Crack, 6 kills to his name with the 2 First Bloods. In fact, all First Bloods have gone to the way of Rebel. And that does, make sense. With the high-impact players that you have, Demon, Xploidz, Identivez, and Crack, they're all comfortable in their individual lanes. And, well, they're going to pick up those kills when needed. We need an answer from Fury 1, especially if you're a fan of them, because this can get carried away very quickly. Now, mind you, Xploidz has kind of stalemated this fight consistently against Jaled. He's not really being the aggressor. We've seen more plays pop off over here on the drop shot side. We do see drop shot picked up basically for free. Crack sends it straight into Demon, and he needs to win this fight for redemption against Aimboot, or else this could be a disastrous round.
Yeah, you see Crack trying to play across this picnic table, now, or picnic bench, excuse me. Now you're going to see him push in, goes for that little up A that we saw earlier out of Sleeper. Doesn't get it to connect. Aimboot reloads. Jaled in the middle of the map doesn't get the down. Looking to find this next shot on. Ooh, that's a big shot on a Crack. Crack has to play back now. Ventry has the extra damage, but Crack actually finds the secondary shot and the up A. They find both kills. Oh, lordy, lordy. That could have been very dangerous in a lot of situations.
But that drop shot's got to taper off, Colin. That very well could have been a disastrous start for the Rebel boys. I mean, it kind of was. It was a 4v3, made that a 3v3 once the drop shot kills his teammate. But either way, Rebel recovers. They bring it 4-1, and they've been smooth sailing through this map, which shows to me that Fury 1, not only suffered loss against the United, but they're on their way to losing here. We do see a bit of a deviation. Fury 1 giving up the drop shot side, sending 2 players through Hotel. Ultimately, a 2v1 now on Identivez, forcing him away. Torque mode free, but Fury 1, they don't need it. They don't want it. They're just continuing forward.
Yeah, they're playing back here, trying to get the angle out. But if they go back to pick up the torque bow, somebody's waiting at that window. They could get an easy free down on him. They don't get it. They get a ton of damage on a Ventry, but not enough to get that down. Now Ventry revving up that torque, shoots one at the corner, trying to get that splash damage. Drop shot way too far. Now you need to just help your teammate. Pull out that snub, get the damage on. They do just that. 4v3, last move down. 4v2 possibility. Playing at this cubby corner. Drop shot over the top. Can't get the kill again. 2 drops wasted, but I mean, I guess good enough to save your teammates in the round. 1 round away. They've only given up 1 from a 2-0 lead in this matchup.
I think Fury 1 is grasping at straws, and they're seeing which one they're going to get. Is it the short one, the long one? Well, they're really not grabbing anything. They're not getting anything, and that was the biggest push we've seen them take through back alley to try and put the pressure onto Rebel, but they read it for what it was, and they ended up handling it very well. Now we're at 5-1. Fury 1 has thrown a plethora of looks, but again, nothing is sticking, nothing is working. We'll see a 2-man push once again through Hotel. Last move trying to go with Ventry. Identivez putting down that Lancer fire. He's actually going to drop on Ventry. Demon gets first blood. Aimboot answers back. It's a 3v3.
Aimboot looking across. Little Lancer damage, just kind of tagging that player up. Oh, he almost runs into another one, but he pulls the brakes on just in time, but great shots on. Love that redirection from Xploidz to be able to get that kill now with Ventry and last move in their face. Demon with 2 drop shots yet again. Ventry has the torque. Ventry has to eventually find a kill with that torque. I've seen a ton of wasted potential with this torque bow throughout this map. He needs to find at least 1 pick to try to even it up at 2v2. It would be amazing for them if it was Demon that he found the pick on, because Demon is just kind of looking for the rotation here, and wherever they decide to go, especially if they just wait it out and go toward that overtime hill, Demon and the boys from Rebel have all of the advantages. They have both of those drop shots to be able to use. And look at this, down at the bottom, Identivez is called out last move, at least where his positioning is, playing from the backside of that van, and they can easily bring him down for the 2v1.
And I think Identivez, I mean, even if this is stalemate a little bit longer, he's going to be able to get that torque bow as well. Last move is just cherry on top, taking him down nice and easy. Brings it to a 3v1. Ventry last alive. Again, Identivez had the chance for the torque bow, but I guess there's no need for it. You can just play for overtime hill. Bit of a splash damage, but Ventry gives away his positioning. And he's got a player on the flank on the hunt, but what a shot on Xploidz, my lord. Pixel perfect. 2 more shots in. Active locked in. Demon also active as well. He's going to hold this and play for the overtime hill.
Ventry looking down. He's trying to get that active shot at the cubby corner. The reaction shot drop as he up 8 around the corner. Won't be able to find the kill. He'll get the down with the knife, but oh boy, you got to play over that hill, and that's going to be 6 rounds in a bag for Rebel. They dominate map 2 like I thought they should, and then they would, only dropping 1 round, and for the longest time, Xploidz didn't have a kill or death, but those 7 assists starting to rack up quickly for him and becoming that MVP for his squad as he rotated around, got the shots on. Can Rebel finish it off in style with a 3-0? Find out right after this.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 2, day number 7. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Colin the Crow Clark. Heading into map 3, that's going to be Vasgar Escalation. Rebel leads 2-0. Not having too many struggles on Regency, not having too many struggles on Ephyra. But how do we think Fury 1 or Rebel is going to look on map number 3 to you, Colin?
I think Rebel's going to try to be much of the same. They're going to try to dominate the early initials and really just put pressure on Fury 1 to make plays late in rounds. We saw it a couple of times here with these overtime hills, especially twice. There was one where they baited out one player to look away before they pushed in, get the first kill. The second time, they pincered out a player. They hit him with a quick pincer. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He gets a melee down on one player, but like that guy was literally playing distraction. He was playing for time while the other player sat in the overtime hill. On Escalation, what you're going to see a lot of is if they win the initials, they might be playing a little bit of defense early, forcing out some extra rotations, forcing out some players to kind of fly at them from Fury 1. If they pick up that secondary set of kills, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of dominations early. Okay,
couple of dominations early on. Rebel fans might be happy to hear that. Just trying to go back and see if Fury 1 has a lot of experience when it comes down to Vasgar, specifically speaking for Rebel. Vasgar isn't a map that they play too often. The last time was against Pittsburgh Knights, and that was during their great victory. They ended up beating them 5-3. They look great doing it too, Colin. So that gives me good confidence and faith that obviously Rebel is going to be just fine here. As far as Fury 1 goes, Fury 1 has played Vasgar at least once, and it was against Pittsburgh Knights. They lost 2-5, so it's kind of a little bit of snippet that we have, right? You got one team losing 2-5, the other team beating that very team 5-3. Rebel, once again, looking like the favorites here in map 3.
Yeah, and that's no easy out for any team. The Knights are extraordinarily good at Vasgar in a lot of situations. I've seen them beat teams that they probably shouldn't have. I've seen them beat teams down that they should have as well on a map like Vasgar. So good news for Rebel and good news for their fans going into this map number 3, as you said. I think Fury 1, they've got to probably go to the power weapon early. They need to try to make it about a singular team fight because you could see when they kept getting split up, Rebel was able to win enough fights around the map on execution and in that control that it just kind of became overwhelming for them. But when Fury 1 could make it about a team fight, maybe they could use their movement, maybe they could use the extra shots to get downs, to get kills, to get something to help them win the initials. This time we're going to see a 3v3 here toward that second half neutral hill, which would have been the E, right in front of the helicopter, but 1v1 at the B hill about to break out. Big back A on the Demon out of Ventry will get that first win. And just like we kind of saw with the E United and... Excuse me, the E United matchup against Team Queso, where Sleeper was dominant at that B hill.
Against TJ.
Dominant as well.
Yeah, and we've seen the effects of that, right? TJ didn't have the best performances. He didn't have the best stat line by any means at all. But he was always able to come back in the secondary 1v1 and win that fight for E United. Will we see Ventry lock it in for the second time around? Well, Demon, he gets Ventry super weak off that last shot. Closed the gap. He gets him down. Rebel not backing down. And maybe a potential domination might be since ringing forward, but player 4 on the opposite end, Demon. So yeah, excuse me, he won that fight. That's going to force Fury 1 now up top for A. Rebel's going to have to wait a little bit for that domination. They're going to have to play this through.
And Xploidz, I like the look over, the way that he's trying to keep that player off balance. Crack is backing up. He hit every one of those snub shots. There's no way he doesn't get that chunk. He did way too much damage not to be able to get that finishing kill because the player can't stay but so close to the corner, afraid of the wrap. He ends up getting shot anyway. Demon's going to back off. They get the 2-to-1 hill advantage, but you can see they rotate 2 players over to B, and Demon knows better. He says, I can get out of here. I can buy my teammates time going over to C hill. We can continue to rotate around the horse track to keep our numbers advantage somewhere and to keep ourselves in a position to come away with the point lead.
Well, point lead is going to be there, 156 to 136. Now Fury 1 back against the wall. What are they going to be able to do? Well, Rebel's holding on to 2 hills quite tightly. It comes down to 2 distinct 2v2s, and this is kind of really what it boils down to. Fury 1 has to win both of them, or at least win one to give them a little bit of time. Beautiful shot from Demon on the Ventry. Jaled now by himself. He's going to be isolated. He's now gone. Now the other Fury 1 members have no choice but to push forward. They do take down one, but Xploidz is holding his ground quite well. He'll back up, create that spacing. The rest of the Fury 1 boys are going to be off of the respawn, but Rebel, just in pure typical Escalation fashion, they're going to keep that 2-to-1 in their favor, send 2 over towards B, and this should be all she wrote for round 1.
Xploidz, I mean, he's just going to rotate around. He's going to get tagged up. He's going to get marked up, but look at this. He knows he can play back. My man went out for a pizza. Look at them weapons coming by the way. He's got them pizza weapons. Man, styling and profiling with a little bit of dinner.
You know, don't start talking about pizza, man, because I'm hungry. Pure typical fashion.
You a ham and pineapple kind of guy?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm no pizza snob. I'll eat whatever's in front of me, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Hey, look, I know there's this hot debate. Okay, actually, I gotta ask chat because there's always a debate: pineapple on pizza, pineapple not on pizza, bro. If you're hungry and you got pizza in front of you and it does have some pineapple on it, you still gonna eat it? I'm gonna eat it.
Hey,
I'm here to know, but I'm gonna eat it.
You ever heard the old saying, Taylor? You know what the best spice in the world is? Hunger.
And that is
hungry enough, you'll eat anything in the world, I bet.
I use that spice a lot, actually. Didn't even know I had it in my cupboard, but I had it in me all along.
See what they can do. Demon is going to get tagged up, almost gets down by that Boltok. You saw that shot ring out over his shoulder, hit him in the back, tries to drop it in the middle, trying to stay alive as long as he can. Look at the way my man Demon just went on a marathon. Man was running for his life across map, and now Crack is going to come up. They get the down onto Ventry thanks to Xploidz. They're going to get this cleanup very quickly. They're in the A hill already. 2 players are chasing out Demon. Demon will get the back A onto 1. They're going to continue to put out damage, and this is the angle we saw from Sleeper in the Team Queso matchup. Don't fall for it, boys. Oh my God, no need. No need.
Oh, no. He walked straight into the last move, too. He stole his lunch money. Ventry luckily keeps the game alive, but woo, Rebel is looking good.
Aren't looking good at it. Oh my God, I ain't had dinner yet, brother. I'm struggling with the fatness. I'm struggling with the fatness over here. I'm telling you. Ventry's going to challenge the C hill early. He's the tip of the spear for his squad. Flashbang toward Xploidz. Not able to get that first one to kind of connect, so they're going to back up. But the Boltok from Crack. 3 shots is easy bread for the down. Hits that big body on the player trying to go in for the up A. I mean, what a play by Rebel. That defensive stand was crippling. And now Aimboot doesn't even have time to get his health back. That's what I'm telling you. They get a set of kills. If they get a second set, they go for the domination.
Yeah.
Don't you dare roll back. Don't even think about it. Don't blink.
This is Rebel. Jaled 0 and 5. I want to see where Demon's at. Demon has just been. He's been that guy, you know. He's 5 and 2. Well done. 6 and 1 for Identivez. See, that's what I like to see. But I also like to see Demon because, you know, he's got that 5,600 damage. I think as a whole, Rebel, they're cruising to victory, man. Fury 1. I got to say, I'm a bit disappointed. I expected a lot more from Fury 1 in this series.
Let's go, I really did, too. I really expected them to be a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher, especially in some of these CQC fights. But this is just one of those situations where I really do believe that it's the Jacob MVP arc right, man. They're built the same. Rebel just has the talent, man. They've just been here longer. They are more experienced, more seasoned players. Demon is going to keep this player kind of off balance here at the B Hill. He wins it early, gets that quick cap off, and now it forces Ventry to kind of take this fight sooner or later, because you can see Demon and the rest of the guys from Rebel, they're not moving. They know what they got. They know that they've got a winning situation here with a 2-to-1 hill cap. Demon trying to take this 45-degree angle onto Ventry is not going to be able to get that down. He's full red, and Ventry can't pressure it now because he's got a 2v1, and now they're going to try to take their numbers advantage over to A. If Xploidz gets any of these kills, it's a miracle. He's finally going to go down, but look at this. If I'm Rebel, nobody died over there. You know that the C Hill's only going to be guarded up by maybe one person?
Yeah, but
Why not?
Well, because you only have 2 players, and I agree with kind of hanging back, playing the longer game. I also like the positioning from Demon, because Demon is, over here, at least he was getting the cross. And I don't know if he expected Ventry to be there, but you kind of have to, especially if he died off, he's going to be coming off the respawn. Either way, I think Rebel's still in a good spot. They had the point lead, and they're pressuring up safely. This is what we wanted to see from them, Colin. No reckless pushes, and I think that last push might have been reckless if they push up too strong. So either way, Rebel playing the smart game. They're playing this nice and controlled. This is what we needed to see from them. And I love their team fire. I really do, and their ability to take these off angles. Fury 1 is really struggling, at least from any fight perspective that I'm seeing. Oh, no. Yeah, full red, too.
Even still, Identivez was making a 5-head play. He's getting the 2-to-1 hill advantage back in their favor. And even if they all die right there, they're coming off a respawn while people have to stay in their hill, kind of dance in their hill to get that recap off. That's a long game plan play right there by Identivez. It's a smarter game plan. Identivez waiting in the wings now, trying to get that single shot kill onto one player. He's going to go down. Now 2 players might be here for defense. Demon and one other. Demon will have the retro from his respawn. Plenty of damage to be able to put out with that, but he's going to get hit with a flash. Unsure if he's going to push back into the situation. Gets tagged up a little bit. The damage, you can see him tapping that, controlling the recoil. That's why I love that gun. The Retro Lancer will always be one of my favorite weapons in Gears since its inception in Gears 3. It just is an absolute turret if you can control that recoil.
Oh, this is getting interesting now. Player 3 gets on C. Player 8 doesn't even challenge Colin. He just sprints to B, even though he knew Xploidz was up top. He wanted that neutral hill, and he looks as if he might be able to get it. Meanwhile, on A, though, Identivez is fighting tooth and nail. Demon is going to get the drop on the retro. The pressure is up. Xploidz also going to be on the flank. It's coming down to the wire, but I think Rebel should be able to gain the edge here. With those kills, they will, in fact, get A, and that will be the round solidified in the hands of Rebel, despite Fury 1 being close.
Taylor, we got to ask you a question real quick. Somebody in chat. The one and only Bleach for Brains in chat just said you probably put ketchup on your pizza. I know you was trolling earlier.
I do not put
but I just want to check.
Pizza.
I just want to check, baby. I just want to check on you.
Come on, I do not bleach. I do not put pizza.
He likes the spice, says my man Slate.
Hey, see, the troll continues, all right? So, hey, I think, but seriously though, I think ketchup is one of the best seasoning you can put on any food.
I believe it. I believe it. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and say this though, Taylor. I think I was really impressed with how long Fury 1 was able to stay alive.
Absolutely.
At the arrivals.
Absolutely.
They got overzealous. They felt like they had Demon in a 1v forever situation, and Demon holding that retro down low gets that first down and opens up his flank back into the arrivals. Those are the little mistakes. It's just like we were talking about with Dyslexic for United, putting himself in bad spots. Fury 1 did it, not because of overconfidence, but because of probably their youth. They're probably used to being able to bully up on challenging team like that.
Yes.
And their youth does not dictate to them that they cannot make that kind of a play.
Right.
So they play up on a Demon. Demon gets that first down, then it opens up all the rest of the plays. Xploidz will pick up that long shot. They're going to flash in, try to get close to Xploidz to try to get a kill. They finally get it down. They pick up Identivez, but Xploidz kills Jaled as soon as he picks up the meat shield. My man said negotiation over with. All right?
And this one might be over with too before it even gets started. Last move's trying to get as much as he can, but it's not going to be enough, and that round's going to finish off quickly. 46 seconds, 4-0 lead Rebel, 1 round away from being champions in this series. And Colin, I'm going to give you credit. That's actually the first time, and I never even brought that up, the mentality of challenger teams coming into Pro League and how they approach fights. I actually really appreciated that point you brought up.
Well, I think it's something
because I never thought about it.
Got away with.
Right,
against
exactly.
challenger teams, and
bad
then every
habits.
now and again, yeah, you develop those bad habits, and muscle memory takes over, and you're like, oh, he's just got a retro. He's just like, he's down the stairs, but if I've got 3 covers to kind of bounce around to keep myself alive, try to get this head down one-shot chunk. And players like Demon, they don't miss those shots, man. They put in the time and the work to be able to use that retro to the fullest of its advantage. Let's see if they can get another quick pick on the long shot. Demon's gonna go for a full flank. He's gonna get tagged up. And this is where Demon knows he's dead, but he's caught 2 players' attention and has helped get the long shot on Identive's hand and get it out for scot-free now. All they gotta do is kind of find the respawns, find the rotations, or take advantage. Oh, hey, now, come on. You get 1 kill on back tank. Now you know that you're getting the call and somebody's coming on the flank. This is what I'm talking. These are those little plays. These are those Hey, yo!
I think it's an ego battle. I think it's an ego battle between Identivez and Xploidz at this point. Who's gonna hit the better shots? Identivez showed up last week on Canals, and he says, you know what? I'm gonna flex my muscle a little bit in this series.
There's some big egos swinging around right now. That's what's
swaying.
Hey, yo, is that my man? It's Johnny Cog, by the way. Is that the It's Johnny Cog skin? I can't tell. I can't see if I can see the confetti. He has to stand up. Oh, hey, now. It is the Johnny Cog skin, by the way. That's one of my favorite things to see pros still using. Good job by Identivez, not just getting those kills, but using one of the flashier skins in the game, in my opinion.
You see those headshots from Demon with the bold talk? Oof. Crispy, crispy, crispy. Looks like Rebel's might potentially lock this up. That was a good sentence. 5-0. Will they be able to do it? Fury 1, though, pushing back. Identivez didn't even take the shot, gave it over to Crack, and the love will continue. No one is even going for the domination, Colin.
Yeah, they're playing with their food. They know just how demoralizing they can make this. They've got the 2-to-1 hit. Yeah, look at this. They're leaving players down. They're taking care of business. I mean, they are putting in the work. They deserve to kind of have a little fun right now.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that, Colin.
Hey, man.
I'm surprised to hear you say that. Normally, you're the guy button up.
Shut me up with 3 straight. Hey, yo! Hey, yo! Yo, somebody better start praying. Like, you better start calling on gods that you didn't even know existed at this point.
Oh, my.
God.
Get off that, Ribs. Ribs, we don't need to see that, man. Come on, man. Let's see. Yeah, let's see this. Let's see the action. Let's see Xploidz fighting over on the other side. Demon pushing up. 1v2. It's just slim pickings out here, man. Oh. I don't know, man. How do you cast this? It's just how do you go for it, man?
Kinda, hey, how about
let it breathe?
No, I'll give you a feel good story. You know why I like the Johnny Cog skin so much, Taylor? Did anybody tell you why that skin was made? So Johnny Cog was an esports skin that you could buy in the store, and it helped support Gamers Outreach, a charity that Gears was always really close with Gamers Outreach, and it actually was inspired by a streamer who was involved with Gamers Outreach named John. His gamer tag was Johnny Quad.
Okay.
And that's why they call it the It's Johnny Cog. I mean, it's a good story. It's a feel good story, man. Feel good story.
I like it. I like Gamers Outreach and a lot of great things. Well done to Rebel. That's a 3-0 win. A dominant 5-0 on Vasgar Escalation. Fury 1 back to the drawing board. They go, Colin. And they're going to have to formulate a plan because that right there was simply not it. But Rebel looking strong not only last week defeating that of Pittsburgh Knights, but also beating the team of Fury 1 in this regard. Tomorrow might be a little bit tougher, but today it was a walk in the park.
I'm actually shocked they didn't use that execution because like where you rip the arm off and then you just start hitting the guy with his own arm, and then if I ever do that execution, I just start screaming, "Why are you hitting yourself?" Which is what it felt like toward the end.
That was your signature, man.
Yo, Rebel.
During your commentary, that was your signature, bro.
I don't know, I don't know how to feel about that, Matt, because like we're about to see a whole lot of Rebel highlights on it.
Yeah, I'm really I'm really disappointed in Fury 1. Of course, it's my job to be unbiased, but I did expect a lot more. And I have expected a lot more because Fury 1, in my opinion, has been one of the most strongest, dominant, kind of, I would say teams who were ranked 5th through 10th Well, maybe not even 5th because, you know, Rebels obviously in 5th place, so they're there for a reason, but at least 6th through 10th. But now you got to beg the question, Team Queso and the performance they put against the United, I think we have a new dominant team, at least on the, you know, on that big divide. And I call it a big divide. If you look at the Pro League standings on Smash.gg, you actually see that divide from 1 through 5 down to 6 through 10. But I think Team Queso now is one of the most dominant teams who's down in the lower ranks, where Fury 1, this performance it wasn't competitive. You know, we're not watching a challenger team play a Pro League team. We're watching 2 Pro League teams battle. And Fury 1, I felt, didn't battle. Even that comeback on Regency Control, 300-202, in my opinion, that was given to them by Rebel. You know, I don't mean to sound cruel, but Rebel wasn't playing like they normally play. They weren't playing like they normally play, and this is series in general. So I expected a lot more from Fury 1, and they need to expect a lot more from themselves in their future series in the Pro League.
I will say this, that there's a very small part of me that's starting to believe or starting to get the feeling that Fury 1 early in the season caught people off guard with their aggression.
Yes.
And now there's a part of me that's watching them play, and it's like teams are ready for that. They understand that you're willing to push them more often than they're willing to push you. So they just wait for it. They play around it. They lancer you out. They tag you up as you come into the fight. There were several times in those first in maps 2 and 3 where somebody coming into the fight had either been hit with a lancer probably 4, 5, 6 times, or especially in that last map when they had the Boltox out, where the Boltox would tag you once, twice, and then you have to take a seat. You've got to sit behind a pillar, or you're an easy one-shot chunk or a forever away shot down. So that, to me, tells me that teams are starting to prepare for that. Teams are watching footage on Fury 1 and saying, this is what they like to do. They're a Wolfpack-heavy team. Play around it. Go wide. Get angles on them. Make them Wolfpack at one player and try to get team revives off. Or we damage you enough to where that one player waiting for you gets these chunks as you get within a certain range. It's really, to me, Fury 1's going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to play the other side of gears. They're going to have to play the setup game, the damage game, the team fire game.
And again, that harkens back to what you said during the commentary on Vasgar. You can't play like you're playing against other challenger teams. You have to be more diverse. Challenger teams are great. You know, they're fantastic, but you can get away with being over aggressive, especially if your mechanical ability is better than the other challenger team. You can't get away with that in Pro League because everybody is expected to be mechanically relatively even. You do have those outliers. Powers is one of them, right? Exploits with his power weapons is another. But regardless, though, you have to be more versatile. You have to find your identity. And maybe Fury 1 hasn't found their identity. Aggression isn't an identity. Okay? Being well-rounded, being, a sword or a shield, those are identities. But Fury 1, I think they'll be okay. They just got to figure it out. But you know what? Team Queso seriously gave the best performance today, in my opinion. That E-United matchup was incredible. And one guy who truly tried to lead the way on that Team Queso roster had to be Xploidz. And in fact, he is in your Esports Pro Controller play of the day. This happened on Vasgar. Colin, break it down.
Well, here we go with Xploidz waiting for that shot out of TJ. As soon as TJ hits only a couple of pellets, Xploidz knows he can slide into the cover, get that back A, maybe an up A off of him. As he pulls the snub, he gets the secondary amount of shots enough to get that next down so that he can 2v1 that final player. If we get it one more time in slow mode, you're really going to get to see a good look at it. So here we go. Watch the shot from TJ. He waits for the shot before he slides. Bait the shot, hits the back A. Now, snub, he gets damage. He has help from Xavi. That's the player you have to pinpoint. Now he has a 2v1 on that final player, him and Xavi. That's an easy final kill to wrap up a triple kill for Xploidz. He posted it on his Twitter. You can go out and find him. I'm not 100% sure of his ad, but you can see it from his point of view as many times as you want it.
Yep.
It was too talented, and it was a great play from Team Queso to help propel them to a map 3 victory and really put United in dire straits.
Yeah, and that was just a come up. That was only the second win in a row Team Queso got. That would have been just the second win out of the 4 that they got in a row. Xploidz, big plays, and that's why he earned the Esports Pro Controller play of the day. Let's take a look at our daily results. Hive ended up taking a loss to Pittsburgh Knights. Unfortunate that they had to forfeit, but that's just the way it is when it comes to your sub not being able to play and internet issues. Pioneers got a 3-0 victory over Fire and Ice. E-United Team Queso Queso. We just talked about it. We just saw that beautiful eSwap X Pro controller play of the day with Crystallize. That went the distance, even to a round 11 on checkout. Ultimately, United, they held their ground. They stay in the lead. Rise 3 over Discipline. Rebel 3-0 over Fury 1. Colin, really not much to talk about outside of obviously United Team K. So that matchup was just beautiful to see through and through.
It was good to see Team Queso put up a fight. I mean, the rest of these being 3-0s, we might have gotten a better story out of Hive. Really sad to see them having to put in that forfeit loss earlier because of the connection issues and then the sub not being able to play. We could have gotten a much better matchup out of them and the Pittsburgh Knights there in that first time slot. But I really want to focus on that 3-2. And of course, I would still like to give a shout out to Rebel. I don't want to focus too much because they outplayed Fury 1. But that's what you're supposed to do. I said at the beginning of the day, these need to be 3 games where you take care of business. United, they ended up getting a win, but in no way, shape, or form did they take care of business to be that #1 team that should be feared. Rebel, they did exactly what they needed to do.
Well, let's take a look at our standings after day 70. United still in first place with 6-1, 77% map win rate. They're on a 5-win streak, Colin, to match that of Rebel, who's on a 5-win streak. So United staying in first, but Rebel moving up the ranks in third place now. An opportunity maybe for some shifting still for the first place positioning. We're getting towards the tail end of Pro League, and I'm liking what I'm seeing when it comes to our top 5 teams. Again, that great divide, though, from 6 to 10. Fury 1 holds on to 6th place, but Team Queso has a real chance to move up the ranks if they continue to play like they did tonight.
I mean, this is shaping up to be one of the more interesting storylines going into a major in a long time. Just the sheer competition between our top 5 teams. You no longer can cut it. We've got this team that's a championship and these 2 teams that are contenders, and then we got some dark horses. Oh, hell no. There's a brass ring. Who's going to reach out and grab it?
Yeah. And you know what? It might not even be the returning champs. You know, KCP, they've been getting beat, and that's something we're not used to seeing at all. You know, they went on a 5-6 months win streak where they just didn't lose, and you know, now they're finding themselves again, and that's been interesting to see. But I agree with you. You know, going into the major, we don't really have the standard storylines that we always have. We will organizational wise. I think the orgs that are still dominant or, you know, and been dominant are still dominant because of who they have on the rosters, but there's no guarantee who's going to take that ring. There's no guarantee who's going to be that champion. And I love that. Colin, let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule because it's going to be a great day. And I'm sure we're going to have great matches. Fury 1 plays against Team Queso right there. I mean, it's done. Like, that's the one that I want to see. We've had the storyline. Fury 1, Team Queso. Who is the better team on the lower end? 6 through 10. We're going to find out in match number 1. Then we'll have Rebel and Pioneers. Again, another great one. Previous champ, or current champs, excuse me, versus Rebel, who's on the up and up. PK versus Fire and Ice, and then Rise versus United. Tomorrow is absolutely stacked. Like, this is going to be great.
I mean, not only do you get possibly 3 fantastic, shut them down, turn the lights off, electrifying games that could shut down a whole power plant, you're going to get Guy Blaze Live and Jacob MVPR calling all that action. Hoo-hoo! Come on now,
man.
Come on now.
That's gonna be a good time. That's gonna be and it's gonna be a much needed break for me and you, Colin, because sometimes we just have some fun, don't we? But it was a good night, though.
That poor Hive and Pittsburgh Knights matchup had to listen to us for like 35 minutes straight. Yikes.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're just gonna have fun with it, man. But we learned about bologna sandwiches, and I think for me, I'm gonna take that home, and I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. Okay, you cut the edges off so it doesn't balloon up. Never knew that, Colin. Never.
You just cut little. You cut little, like when you lay a piece of bologna down, you take a little knife and you cut 4 little notches.
Oh, just the notches. So it can
you just notch it. You just notch it, baby. You just notch it. That's all.
I thought it was like cutting out the crust on a PB&J sandwich.
You just cut notches in it, baby. You just notch it up.
Okay, just notch it up. Got it, Colin. It's been a great night, brother. What are your final words before we get out of here?
Love you guys, man. Look, make sure you're back here tomorrow night. Stacked lineup. Jacob MVPR, God Blaze Live. You got United and Rise for the main showcase up there at the heavyweight championship bout. Look, you better bring that microphone down from the sky like it was Bruce Buffer. Like, are you ready to rumble? We better get one of them things going, okay?
It's going to be a great day, guys. Make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't already, because Pro League returns again tomorrow, 5 Eastern time. Same time it started today, same channel, same place. So make sure you hit the follow button and you are ready to go. For myself, Taylor, Reflections, Noble, Colin, Crow, Clark, our production team, you in chat, thank you once again for being here. We'd love to have you again, Pro League, 5 Eastern tomorrow, same channel, Xbox. It's going to be a great time.